giddies today. Good morning. And welcome to Unity of Palmyra, where centered in love, we embrace a positive path for spiritual living. We are an open and affirming congregation. We love you exactly as you are in all of your magnificent glory. And Janie and Jody, welcome back.
It's good to be back.
Kate did a wonderful job, and we missed you. We love having you. And Janie has a little boo-boo on her forehead. She wants to reassure everyone she's fine, but we will just send all of our good energy to her little boo-boo and the black eye that's forming from a little fall, a little tumble that she took. So welcome back.
Thank you.
All righty, let's just take a minute to ground and become fully present in this space, and whatever space you are in. If you're watching us from home, welcome. Please turn off your phone, walk away from your email, and just allow yourself to become fully present. We are here now. Right now, in this moment. So just for the next hour, we're going to give ourselves the gift of letting go of what was and what will be, and just be completely, totally exquisitely here now. For in reality, now is all there is. And so we take this time apart to remember that truth and to remember the truth of who we are. Spiritual beings having an incredibly, wonderfully human experience. And so, as always, we enter into our service with gratitude as we say thank you for this time to come apart. Thank you for whatever safe space you are in this morning. And most especially, thank you for one another, for those who have chosen to wander this journey together. And so it is. Amen. Let's stand and sing Blessing to the World.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and all we are, and all we do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and all I am, and all I do is a blessing to the world.
Oh, that was so pretty. Let's share together in our vision. Centered in love, we embrace a positive path for spiritual living. And our mission, see if you can close your eyes and say it.
We provide a welcoming community that inspires and encourages all who gather here through the teaching, sharing, and practice of universal spiritual principles.
Well done. There are lots of closed eyes. Good job. We're going to talk in a little bit about why that's so important. So one of the ways we practice is to honor wherever you are on your journey. So if you would like a hug, we will bring it on in. If you prefer a handshake, we will respect that. And if you want us to leave you completely alone, we totally understand. We will honor your bubble around you. Have a great time.
Here we go. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Sing it with us. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
Well done. Have a seat. So before the announcements, I want to talk about the graphic that Jackie found. She just picked it because she loved how it looked, and it looked like a vibrant community. Right? And so then she did some research on it. So hear how cool this is. Tags are the lowest rank of graffiti. On the opposite end, we have macro murals, like the one painted on Palmitas district in Mexico. This mural is enormous, covering 20,000 square meters of surface on 209 houses. The huge street art project beautified the surroundings of 452 families, 1,808 people. It is said that the project eliminated youth violence and created several jobs. All in all, the macro mural took 5 months to paint. Now, doesn't that give new meaning to vibrant community? So, thought that was awesome. You never know what's going to happen when you're creating the PowerPoint for a Sunday morning. All right, some announcements. Our prayer chaplains today are Linda Longenecker and Helen Baker. They are both in the back pew this morning, and they will be over here after the service if anyone would like one-on-one prayer from them. Your contribution letters are in the Rose Room. I know that the ushers were gently moving you in that direction when you came in, so please do take your contribution letters, because that way it'll save us a ton of postage. They will go in the mail tomorrow if you don't take them. I'm going to try to do these things in chronological order. So we are going to be painting in the big youth room this Saturday morning, 9-ish, whenever we get here. So if you would like to roll or cut or just help us paint that big room, we would be very grateful. If you have a chance, check out the toddler room. We have reestablished that as the littles room. We've made it very festive and very bright, so do check that out. Our goal is to have the entire youth area done following Gwen's incredible organization down there, so that when we have the coffee house on the 11th, how's that for a segue? The whole downstairs looks just beautiful. So if you could help paint next Saturday morning, let me know, and we'll figure out what time we're going to start, and there will be coffee. The self-care workshop is next Sunday, the 5th. It's February already. So I want to talk a little bit about next Sunday. So it's going to be a different kind of a Sunday. We're calling it Spa Sunday. It was a concept created by one of my dear friends and colleagues, Lori Boyd. And so basically we're going to open with a song and a prayer and probably the daily word, and then a really brief message. I am capable. And then what we're going to do is there are going to be stations set up throughout the entire building where you're going to get to go as you feel led and engage in a personal, nurturing spiritual practice. There are going to be all different ways that you can do that. Some will involve movement that will make Elaine happy. Some will involve meditation, which will make Leslie happy. Some will involve lighting a candle. Some will involve drawing and creating. They're all about your personal spiritual renewal and nourishment. So we're still trying to figure out if it's going to be possible at all to stream it. Just stay tuned. I'm going to talk to our streaming guru this week and see if we can figure that out. And then that afternoon, we're going to have our self-care workshop. So here's what I want to invite you to do. I would like to invite you to take next Sunday and make it about you and your needs and your self-care and your letting yourself be filled up. So that leads me also to talk about, because this subject comes up periodically, when we offer our classes and our workshops, we always say that there's a suggested love offering. I want you to take suggested seriously. The only reason we even ask for a love offering for our classes and workshops is because we recognize that money is energy. Joseph Campbell says it's the most congealed, it's energy we can hold in our hand. And the reason we ask for a love offering is because we put a lot of energy into creating these classes and workshops for you. And so we're simply looking for some exchange of energy. So when we ask for a suggested love offering of $45, if you can pay that, great. If you pay $5, great. All we're looking for is an exchange of energy. So please don't ever let a suggested love offering prevent you from participating in anything that we offer here. The biggest gift you can give us is of your presence, not your present. So I do want to encourage you to just set aside Sunday, February 5th. Please come in your yoga pants, your sweats, whatever. You do not have to do the do. I know, Vicki, it'll be a stretch, but yes, just come comfortable. And I think you two are are you doing fellowship today or next week? Next week. So we'll even have healthy food for fellowship, right? So please do come, spend the whole day. We would love to have you. There are a lot of, you're getting a lot of gifts at the self-care workshop, so if you are going to stay for that, do sign up so I make sure we have enough gifts for everyone. And of course, it's self-care, so there will be chocolate. All right. So I think that is all that I have for announcements. Miss Holly, would you read the daily word, please?
Good morning. The word today is prosperity. I gotta tell you something. I come to church and you are my prosperity. Honest to Pete, I look around here and been so blessed with all of you and your love and your acceptance, your wisdom and guidance in your music. Who needs a penny when you can come in here and experience this? It's a miracle. It is a miracle. Thank you so much. I can still read. I broaden my perspective of prosperity. When I think of prosperity, I may think of financial wealth or my possessions. I may even feel tempted to compare my life to someone else's and feel as though I come up short in comparison. Today, my understanding of prosperity grows. Feeling safe and secure in who I am in prosperity, knowing I am gloriously made in the image of God is priceless. Realizing the abundance of the natural world and partaking of it as a gift. All of these are wonderful reminders I reside in the kingdom of heaven. I more appreciate the riches of the material world, the more I am aware of my greatest prosperity, my oneness, our oneness with God. In Matthew 6:26, look at the birds of the air. They are neither sow nor reap, nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they?
I am home, my family is here. I feel loved by the ones I hold so dear. And when my family needs me, I promise to be there. And when I need my family, I'm lifted up in prayer.
So this is the time of our service where we consciously enter into prayer. We recognize in unity that every thought, every word, every deed is a prayer. And so at this time, we move mindfully into that awareness. And so I invite you to breathe. To breathe into this space. To breathe into your heart, into your mind. To visualize the breath connecting our feeling nature, our mental nature, and our spiritual nature. For that is the true purpose of prayer, to fully integrate all of who we are. For when we are that whole, we begin to respond instead of to react. We are creating out of our wholeness instead of reacting out of our wounds. And when we can do that as a community, when we can take that outside of these walls into the greater community and model what that looks like, then we no longer have 29-year-old black men being beaten. That is an example of reacting out of wounds, out of fear and anger, instead of responding out of wisdom and compassion and love. And it begins with each one of us. Until we acknowledge that we are all capable of such violence, we will be bound to project it and to judge it and to deny that it's even happening. And so we do our work, whatever that work is for each of us individually, so that we become part of the solution and not part of the problem. So that we are willing to see what is going on in the world, while at the same time holding a vision for what the world could be. And so today we hold his family, his loved ones, his entire community in our prayers. We hold our country in our prayers. We hold any region of the world experiencing violence in our prayers. And we vow to do our part to alleviate the violence within ourselves, to create a peaceful world. So if you are experiencing any kind of a challenge today, physical, emotional, mental, financial, relational, we invite you to hold it very gently and place it in this circle of love. And allow the compassion, the wisdom, the courage, the strength, the resilience of this community to infuse your challenge and to turn it into possibility. And if you are experiencing joy or gratitude today, we invite you to share that energy. Let it spread like compostable glitter through this room so that we can share in your joy. And as always, we acknowledge our innate oneness. We know that together or apart, we are always connected at the heart. And so it is. Namaste.
The God in me beholds the God in you. Namaste. The God in me beholds the God in you. Namaste. You are beautiful. You are whole. You are beautiful. You are whole. Excuse me. I can change the world with my own two hands, make it a better place with my own two hands, make it a kinder place with my own two hands, with my own two hands, with my own two hands. I can make peace on earth with my own two hands, and I can clean up the earth with my own two hands, and I can reach out to you with my own two hands, with my own two hands, with my own two hands. Gonna make it a brighter place with my own two hands. Gonna make it a safer place with my own two hands. Gonna help the human race with my own two hands, with my own two hands, with my own two hands. I can hold you with my own two hands, and I can comfort you with my own two hands. But you got to use your own two hands, 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 and with our own two hands, and with our own two hands, with our own two hands.
That was lovely.
The idea of a beloved community is something that I certainly didn't invent, and it's most connected with Dr. Martin Luther King, although he didn't invent it either. And he got it from Dr. Howard Thurman, although he didn't invent it. But it's one of those timeless ideas, I think. And this is part of what we were talking about over the last couple days. Langston Hughes, the amazing poet, wrote this: "I am so tired of waiting, aren't you, for the world to become good and beautiful and kind." You know, and I think we in New Thought, in religious science, know that ours is not to wait for that. Ours is to create it. Ours is to support the co-creation of a world that works for everyone, which is the Center for Spiritual Living version of the Beloved Community. Let me see here. There we go. This is from the King Center, a statement about what the Beloved Community means. It said, "Dr. King's Beloved Community is a global vision in which all people can share in the wealth of the earth. In the Beloved Community, poverty, hunger, and homelessness will not be tolerated because international standards of human decency will not allow it. Racism and all forms of discrimination, bigotry, and prejudice will be replaced by an all-inclusive spirit of sisterhood and brotherhood." Now, I've never met anyone that disagreed with that statement as a goal, as an ideal, as the way we would like the world to be. And yet, despite this seemingly universal agreement, maybe I'm wrong, but the world hasn't achieved this yet. Has that been your experience? Yeah. But it is one of those overarching goals or visions that can draw us forward to something. So what I do in my latest book, Creating the Beloved Community, is really talk about spiritual leadership in the context of, is the local spiritual community aligned with an overarching goal like this? And if so, what tends to happen is the local community becomes passionate about having that be the world they live in, and the experience of that tends to mean the day-to-day concerns about organizational maintenance tend to go away. In other words, people are attracted to and excited by a powerful vision, and they show up and they support it. They support it with their presence. They support it with their financial giving. They support it in many, many ways, and the focus then becomes the energy of the vision. When I work a lot in coaching ministers. My background is I was a pulpit minister, as we say, for 20 years with Centers for originally Religious Science International and later Centers for Spiritual Living. And I was in Fort Lauderdale, then Baltimore, then Fort Lauderdale again, then Westlake Village, California, and then Simi Valley, California, so I couldn't hold a job. But I don't hold that against myself. But in that experience, and then I was on the board of directors of Religious Science International for 9 years. During the time we were doing what we call the integration of bringing two separate organizations together as Centers for Spiritual Living. And since my retirement in 2015, a lot of my work has been coaching ministers and other spiritual leaders. And what I find is that so many of our communities, our spiritual communities, are sort of mired in not enough. There's not enough money, there's not enough attendance, there's not enough parking, there's not enough space, there's not enough whatever. And I find, and when I have conversation about that, and I'll start asking them to describe what's going on, and I'll ask them a question. I say, "What's your overarching vision?" "Well, we have a vision. You know, what is it?" And they may remember it. You know, they went through a process, and it's on the wall somewhere. But it doesn't come readily to mind. I said, "Is your vision in support of a world that works for everyone or the beloved community?" And often they say, "Well, it could be, kind of. I never thought of it that way." You see. I said, "You don't have a vision if it's not part of you, if it's not part of your reactive mechanism of who you are as an individual and as a community. Otherwise, you're a club, basically, which is a group of people coming together to, in some way, feel good or have an experience of good, which is very valuable, but it doesn't help to create the beloved community." You see the difference? And we do have many, I wouldn't say many, we have some spiritual communities in New Thought that are thriving. And when I look at those, when I speak to the spiritual leadership of those communities, inevitably They are moving toward an overarching vision like the beloved community, like creating a world that works for everyone. And people are excited about that, and there are components within that community that are taking that out into action through outreach, working with local nonprofits or something like that, or charitable causes, or through activism, engaging in the political arena for causes that are consistent with our spiritual principles, or through InReach, and through InReach, which is providing support for the people in the community that need it. You see? In other words, they're learning valuable spiritual principles, and they are also, within that same space, able to put them into practice in various ways.
He's the author of the book Creating the Beloved Community, which we're going to be, a group of us are going to be exploring at depth over the next 10 months. So when I see that, I feel inspired. What do you feel when you see it?
Kind of overwhelming.
Yeah?
It's a small group looking for a far reach.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So what if we had hundreds and thousands of beloved communities? Then what? Right? How awesome would that be? So let me give you a little history, because what we're going to look at today is 3 questions. What is the beloved community? How do we create such a community? And why is it even important? So a little history. Jim was right. He didn't coin this. Thurman didn't coin it. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't coin it. It was actually coined by an American philosopher named Josiah Royce in 1913. And here's what he wrote. My life means nothing, either theoretically or practically, unless I am a member of a community. Royce observed that besides the actual communities we experience on a daily basis, there was also an ideal beloved community made up of all of those who would be dedicated fully to the cause of loyalty, truth, and reality itself. Talk about big, right? Royce founded the Fellowship of Reconciliation, a movement that was later joined by Dr. King. So Dr. King wrote in Facing the Challenge of a New Age, but the end is reconciliation, the end is redemption, the end is the creation of a beloved community. And what he's speaking here is the end of the work. It is this type of spirit and this type of love that can transform opposers into friends. It is this kind of understanding goodwill that will transform the deep gloom of the old age into the exuberant gladness of the new age. It is this love which will bring about miracles. He wrote that in 1956. So Jim, in his book, says that the beloved community is made of people on a spiritual pathway who seek a closer relationship with God, Spirit, your higher power, whatever you call it, and seek to be examples of love and compassion in action. Jim is really focused on action. They practice being truly dedicated to being fully aligned with spiritual principles. And I would add that they have an enlivening and inspiring vision, a reason to exist. Remember when we did our visioning work, and one of the questions that is posed in that visioning work is, why do we exist? Like, this is the question I always ask during that process, if Unity of Palmyra went away, what would be missed? That's the question that we responded to in that. So, what does such a community look like? So Jim has identified several qualities that he says define and shape the beloved community. So that they would be compassion, love and connection, which you just spoke to, Holly. Deep and radical self-knowledge. This is why we do shadow work in this community. Healing, vision, pioneering. I love that word. So what he means by pioneering is being willing to think and do outside of the box, to not always do things the way they've always been done, to be creative, to do something even if we think it might fail. That's pioneering. Evolution and emergence. At the foundation of much of his work around the beloved community is an understanding of spiral dynamics, that evolutionary model that hopes to explain why we do the things we do and how we are evolving as the human species. The powerful thing about that, and he actually talks about this in the book at length, is the whole premise of spiral dynamics is that each phase of our evolution, we call it a meme, creates the one that follows it. And the way it does that is pretty interesting. The problems, the challenges of where we're at create the solutions for where we're going. It's very interesting, isn't it? And then as we go through that next phase of evolution, those solutions eventually turn into the problems, which create the solutions that take us the next leap. You know, I always think of that as because people are like, well, that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, oh, it makes perfect sense. Anybody in a long-term relationship and the things that you absolutely adored about your partner in the beginning just irritate the heck out of you now? Right? Seriously, that's kind of what happens in our evolutionary process. So that's what he means by evolution and emergence, that these communities understand that we are part of a greater evolutionary process. Mutual support, very big component. Contribution, meaning we're willing to give generously of our time, talent, and treasure. There's a sense of possibility in the beloved community, and resiliency. I just have to say kudos to us, man. We totally have nailed resiliency over the last couple of years. So that's the what, which brings us to how. So how do we create communities that embody those qualities? And that's where I find Jim's work really helpful, because he's very practical. You all know I love practical, right? He's very practical. There's a beautiful quote by Dr. King. He says, "Our goal is to create a beloved community, and this will require a qualitative change in our souls as well as a quantitative change in our lives." This is both inner and outer work. Qualitative change in our souls as well as a quantitative change in our lives. So for really since the inception of the Unity movement, and this was also very consistent with the Centers for Religious Science, we have been very focused on the inner, very focused on inner work, because we realize that we live our lives from the inside out, right? That's why we have a great deal of focus on personal responsibility and unity, because we realize that so much of what goes on in our lives is a result of how we think and we see the world. And even when stuff happens because sometimes in physical reality stuff happens, we still get to choose how we respond to what's happening, and we get that. So the inner work is really important. John Lewis wrote this in his book, Across That Bridge. He said, "The most important lesson I have learned in the 50 years I've spent working toward the building of a better world is that the true work of social transformation starts within. It begins inside your own heart and mind, because the battleground of human transformation is really, more than any other thing, the struggle within human consciousness to believe and accept what is true. Thus, to truly revolutionize our society, we must first revolutionize ourselves. We must be the change we seek, if we are to effectively demand transformation from others. And if you're familiar with the work of John Lewis, he lived those words. So the work of creating the beloved community calls for us to go higher and deeper and wider. It calls for us to deal with and heal our own wounds of embracing our shadow, and even more important, to integrating our shadow, because that's where our power lies. It asks us to listen deeply, to develop our own emotional and spiritual intelligence, to embody compassion, to see opportunity in every obstacle. It invites us to see differently. So I basically just went through all the topics in the book. And it can't stop there. We become the change we seek within so we can effect change without. Bless you. So Dr. King also wrote this. He said, I want to use as a subject the birth of a new age. Those of us who live in the 20th century are privileged to live in one of the most momentous periods of human history. It's an exciting age, filled with hope. It's an age in which a new world order is being born. We stand today between two worlds, the dying old and the emerging new. I am aware of the fact that there are those who would argue that we live in the most ghastly period of human history. They would argue that we are going backwards instead of forwards, that we are retrogressing instead of progressing. But far from representing retrogression or tragic hopelessness, the present tension represents the necessary pains that accompany the birth of anything new. It is both historically and biologically true that there can be no birth or growth without birth and growing pains. Anyone relate to that? Just saying. Wherever there is the emergence of the new and the fading of the old, that is historically true. And so the tensions which we witness in the world today are indicative of the fact that a new world is being born and an old world is passing away. So he thought we were living in a ghastly period in 1956. What do you think he'd think about 2023? Right? We are part of an evolutionary shift. We sometimes call it an evolutionary leap, but that almost implies that you very quickly go from point A to point B. And that's not quite the way it works. It's more of a shift. And so the power of the beloved community is that it has the power to change our world, and it starts one community at a time, which makes it a lot less scary. So that's the what and the how. So why is it so important? So here's going to be your spiral dynamics lesson for today. I'm actually going to be quoting Dr. Claire Graves, who was the one of the creators, or I like to say discerners, of spiral dynamics, an absolutely brilliant man. So he says, the present moment finds our society attempting to negotiate the most difficult, but at the same time, the most exciting transition the human race has faced to date. Do you notice how consistent this message is with what we just heard from MLK? It is not merely a transition to a new level of existence, but the start of a new movement in the symphony of human history. Like everything around us, we are in a state of constant motion. We are shaped by the code of the spiral. In short, we can change our own psychology. The brain can rewire itself. Society is not static. Today's problems are yesterday's solutions. Evolution and revolution are part of our nature. We are on perpetual treks of the mind. Many believe we are passing now through such a momentous transformation, a major turning point, a history-making sea change. A new and entirely different pattern of thought is beginning to emerge worldwide and in various fields of human activity. This surge into the second tier involves a shift into a totally new dimension of thinking, a new conceptual order. The supreme issue is the restoration of the world so that life may continue, not just human life, but life itself. For the first time, mankind is able to face existence in all of its dimensions, grounded in a value system rooted truly in knowledge and cosmic reality, instead of delusions brought on by animal and social needs. The mind is suddenly open for cognitive roaming over the entire human tapestry and up the evolutionary spiral. How's that for heady? Right? He wrote that in 1980. So there is consensus that we are in the middle of an evolutionary shift, of a growth in our consciousness and our ability to comprehend and to affect powerful change. And I like how MLK said it, Dr. King, when he said, it may seem on the outside like we're regressing, but that's actually very consistent with the evolutionary spiral, that there are always times where we feel like we're going backwards, and yet what we're really doing is preparing for the next level of evolution, the next shift. Ironically, the more painful and upsetting it seems, the closer we are to making that shift. But it doesn't happen automatically. We have to do our work. So that's the work of the beloved community. That's why I'm so excited that we are going to be going through this program together, because being part of the evolutionary process really brings our unity principles to bear, really brings our understanding that we do live from the inside out and that both are important. It really supports us in fully integrating our humanity and our spirituality, which has been a little bit of a challenge in our movement. But that's what we're being called to at this next evolutionary level. So let's take all of that information into our meditation.
We can change the world, one heart at a time. We can change the world, one heart at a time. I see you, I know you, you're a part of me. We can change the world, one heart at a time. We can change the world, one heart at a time. I see you, I know you, you're a part of me. My heart is open to love. My heart is ready to love you. You can change the world, one heart at a time. You can change the world, one heart at a time. I see you, I know you, you're a part of me. My heart is open to love. My heart is ready to love you. We can change the world, one heart at a time.
So let's breathe together. Take a nice, big, deep breath that you feel all the way down to your toes. And allow all the information you just heard to just float gently above your head. Let it float, ready to drop whenever you need to access it. But for right now, it's just going to be up there in a nice, fluffy cloud. And I invite you to drop down into your heart. Breathe into your heart space. Feel your heart open and warm and expand. Feel all those qualities we just explored in your heart. The compassion, the love, the connection, the support, the sense of possibility, the eagerness to try something new. Feel all of those in your heart. For this is where our work begins. If we have not love, our words are like clinging cymbals. If we are not centered in love in everything we do, we need to question why we're doing it. Everything we learn, everything we share, everything we teach and practice comes back to love. Love for ourselves. Love for our neighbors. Love for our community. Love for our world. All our work begins with love. This is at the heart of the beloved community. It's at the heart of the change we wish to see in the world. So if you remember nothing else from this morning, remember this question. Wherever I go, in whatever situation I encounter, what would love do? We can change the world, one heart at a time. And it begins with our own heart.
I can change the world one heart at a time. I can change the world one heart at a time. I see you, I know you, you're a part of me. My heart is open to love. My heart is ready to love you. We can change the world.
Thank you. Won't it be nice to be in yoga pants and flats next week? So this is the time of our service where we just get to express our incredible gratitude for your generosity, for your contributions of your time, talent, and treasure. We still do accept paper in the back of the room, and there are other ways that you can give. We try to make it as easy as possible, but mostly at this time, we just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for your support of this community. It demonstrates a commitment to how important our work is. Thank you.
Never knew then what I know now, that the fruits they always coming, but you can't go around just knocking them down. It takes a long time to show it. We plant the seeds, then we look at them now. But the roots are always growing, no matter if I'm there or never around. Whatever grows will grow, whatever dies will die, whatever works will work, whatever flies will fly, whatever fails will fail, what's meant to soar will soar. I am planting seeds, nothing
It's like your whole
more.
life. You've been training for this moment, and when the time comes, you just disown it, meaning you just surrender. Don't control it, not listen. Not interested in the clay pots and molding, or sitting next to the path trying to unfold it, or waiting for the fruits to fall down toward you. Let it go and now you're flowing, feeling quite gorgeous, so you take steps away instead of towards it. What a rush, feeling freedom instead feeling freedom with nothing to hold. We've been taught that what you touch will always turn to gold, but now we're learning when we let it go, it overflows with no credit to take, no credit is owed. A higher power working deeper when the seeds are sowed, and when the seeds are true, then they're seeds of gold. But real gold is joy when life starts to flow, and when it does, you just smile, 'cause now you know.
Spent a long time running, never knew then what I know now. That the fruits they always coming, but you can't go around just knocking them down. It takes a long time to show it. We plant the seeds then and we look at them now. But the roots are always growing, no matter if I'm there or never around. Whatever grows will grow, whatever dies will die, whatever works will work, whatever flies will fly, whatever fails will fail, what's meant to soar will soar. I am planting seeds. Whatever grows will grow.
When it grows, it grows.
Whatever dies will die.
When it dies, it dies.
Whatever works will work.
When it works, it works.
Whatever flies will
Let
fly.
it fly, let it
Whatever
fly.
fails will fail.
When it fails, it
What's meant
fails.
to soar will
Come
soar.
on, let it soar.
I am planting seeds, nothing more. Yes, I am planting seeds, nothing more.
So, that's that pioneering energy we were talking about, rapping at church. So thank you for modeling that for us, JD. Let's stand now and share in our unity blessing. Together, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in each and every one of you. Face our Facebook and YouTube friends and beam, 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 beam. All right, let's sing the peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God washes over us. Wherever we are, God is. And wherever God is, all is well. Go forth this week being your magnificent selves, and then you can't help but be the change you wish to see in the world. Amen? Bye-bye, Facebook and YouTube friends. We love you.
I just have to make an announcement down there. Holy heck. Oh my